Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting, the November 5th, 2020 meeting of the Peoria Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate everybody's attendance tonight. I'm going to begin with an opening statement that we begin all meetings with. The Planning and Zoning Commission is composed of Peoria citizens who've been appointed by the City Council to serve on the Commission as a civic responsibility without compensation. Our duty is to study and review planning and zoning issues within the City of Peoria. The Commission holds public hearings or may conduct a study session on a topic. Decisions made by the Commission on general plan amendments, rezonings, and text amendments are forwarded as written recommendations to the City Council. City Council will consider the recommendation of the Commission and make the final determination. City Council may concur with the decision, modify it, overturn it, or remand it back to the Commission for further consideration. For conditional use permit applications, the Planning and Zoning Commission will act as the determining body and may approve, deny, or continue the application. Any member of the public may appeal the decision of the Commission to the City Council regarding a conditional use permit. The appeal must be submitted in writing to the Planning and Community Development Department within 15 calendar days of the date of the Commission's decision. As Arizona and Peoria continue to be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, tonight's meeting is being conducted using measures to protect the health and safety of the public while discussions, deliberations, and actions of the Commission remain transparent. To ensure the health and safety of those attending tonight's meeting, members of the public are asked to wear facial coverings and social distance while inside the City Council chambers. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting remotely can do so by viewing a live stream broadcast on Facebook at facebook.com/cityofpeoriaaz, as well as on Digital Peoria channel on YouTube. The meeting is also broadcast on Cox Channel 11 and CenturyLink Channel 8509. Additionally, the posted agenda online invited citizens with comments or questions on any agenda item to submit those by 6 p.m. in advance of the meeting. If you have comments or questions following tonight's meeting, you can submit those to the Planning Department by emailing planning@peoriaaz.gov. Again, that's planning@peoriaaz.gov. In the interest of maintaining a fair and efficient hearing, the Commission will adhere to the following steps. Each case will be called in the order in which it appears on the agenda unless otherwise announced. Chair will open the case. The city staff will then provide a brief report and recommendation. The applicant is then invited to give a presentation. Then the chair will read the submitted testimony provided by the public in advance of the meeting. After all the testimony has been taken, we'll invite the applicant back up to provide any rebuttal or final statements. Finally, we'll have the commission discussion and decision. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our opening statement. Let's begin tonight with a roll call. Commissioners, please indicate your presence after I call your name. Secretary Brian Patterson.
Present.
Commissioner Sean Hutchinson.
Present.
Commissioner Linda Grice. Commissioner Clay Alsop.
Present.
Commissioner Tody Fighter. And Chair is present. Our first item of business is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is for items that are routine in nature. There are 3 items on tonight's consent agenda. Item 1C, discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on October 15, 2020. Item 2C, Grand Express Car Wash, conditional use permit CU 20-07. A request to obtain a conditional use permit to construct and operate a new automated car wash on the northwest corner of Cotton Crossing and Market Street. And then finally, item 3C, Cactus Tap Room Expansion, conditional use permit CU 20-08, a request to obtain a conditional use permit to expand an existing bar tavern use into an approximately 100 square foot outdoor patio at the existing Cactus Tap Room Beer and Wine Bar, located at 20429 North Lake Pleasant Road, Suite 104. And those are the consent agenda items before us tonight. Commissioners, any questions or comments on any of those consent agenda items? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. We'll now vote on that motion to approve the consent agenda. Commissioners, please cast your vote. And consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioners. We're going to move on to our regular agenda next. We have one item before us tonight under new business. Item 4R, Salad and Go, Conditional Use Permit CU 20-05. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. It's case CU 20-07. My apologies. This is a request to obtain a conditional use permit to construct and operate a Salad and Go drive-through restaurant within 200 feet of a residential zoning district. Staff, please present your report.
Thank you, Chairman.
Can I ask for I'm sorry, can I just interrupt? I'm going to ask for clarification here. Is that correct? Is that CU 20-07? Is that?
Sir, I was just, Mr. Chairman, getting ready to address it. That should be CU 20-05.
Okay. That's what I had in my notes, and I thought I did something wrong. Okay, thank you for that.
I apologize for the typo there.
No problem.
Chairman Nelson, members of the commission, this is a request by the applicant to obtain a conditional use permit for a Salad and Go drive-through restaurant located with 200 feet of a residential zoning district. More specifically, the subject site, 1.23 acre sites located on the northeast corner of Deer Valley Road and 83rd Avenue within the Deer Valley Marketplace. From a contextual standpoint, it's the former Valero convenience store and gas station site. As I stated, it's part of the Deer Valley Marketplace. To the west of the subject site, we have the Top Shelf Mexican food restaurant and the Walgreens. To the south of the site is Fletcher Heights, single-family residential development, more specifically Phase 1A of that development. And to the south and west, we have Circle K gas station there on the corner. Taking a little deeper look at the applicant's proposal, it starts with the demolition of the former Valero gas station. Then a proposed 700 square foot building, which is outlined in orange there. It proposes dual drive-through lanes with speaker box for the regular drive-up window. It also proposes a second drive-through on the south of the building, which is an express drive-through. And if I could take a moment just to clarify what the express drive-through is, I think, one thing that folks are more attached to than their cars these days are their cell phones. And so this is specifically a app-oriented, essentially pickup window. There is no order board associated with it. There is no menu board. This is all pre-ordered from an app on their telephone. It's prepaid, and essentially it's just an express drive-through to pick up the order, and out they go. Expected time in the drive-throughs for this aspect of the operation, less than a minute, and the majority, I can't give you an exact number, but the majority of them prepay, so there's no expected cash transaction at the window as well. So it's a very quick express in and out. Having said that, I would also note that there is a walk-up window for carry-out. And having said that, I would also note that there is no patio or on-site dining with this proposal. The expected hours of operation are 6:30 to 9 o'clock, Monday through Sunday, and approximately 3 to 4 employees per shift. Being as it's the former Valero site and a part of the Deer Valley Marketplace, it essentially is an infill site. Having said that, we're dealing with existing drive aisles, landscape islands, and access to and from the site. The traffic department, City of Peoria Traffic Department, has reviewed the application, and with that review, they've recommended and the applicant has agreed to certain roadway improvements with the development of this site. More specifically, restricting the access from the nearest drive aisle to the east to Deer Valley Road. And we're going to do that through a couple of different improvements here. First being a pork chop installed at at the entrance there, which will create a right-in, right-out movement only. And then through signage and through striping, and we've created an exhibit here, and I would just direct your attention to the bottom there, where you can see the left turn lane to southbound 83rd Avenue has been extended all the way to the drive aisle. And more specifically, the left turn in just east of Jack in the Box from eastbound Deer Valley Road has been extended as well. And what that does is it really protects and signifies that there's not going to be any left turns in and there's not any left turn coming out of there. And then finally, additional signage will be posted at essentially the northeast or southeast corner of the site and across the road, Deer Valley Road there, again, just stating no left turn in and no left turn out. So just wanted to touch base on some on-site and off-site improvements that were being required of the applicant. The site itself is a part of the Fletcher Heights planned area development. More specifically, it has a planned community commercial development, which requires the conditional use permit. Now, within the conditional use permit, there are also special limitations that the zoning ordinance outlines. And when you really take a look at this, I mean, it's based on being within 200 feet of a residential development. So what they're really trying to do is protect the impact that this particular use can have on adjacent residential. So the first thing is all drive-through lanes and menu boards and speaker boxes shall be at least 50 feet from a residential property. Now, I created a little graphic here just to kind of give it a little different perspective. From curb to curb, from inside curb to inside curb on Deer Valley Road, you've got 75 feet. From the express pickup window to the nearest residential property line is right about 200 feet. And from the speaker box and menu board to that same residential property line to the south is over 270 feet away, so almost a full football field. I would also point out that Deer Valley Road is a major arterial. It carries high volumes of traffic throughout all hours of the day. It is staff's opinion that, based on the traffic alone, the noise generated from the drive-through restaurant will be negligible at best. We don't believe that you'll hear you'll hear the traffic, but you won't hear the menu box. Drive-through lanes shall be separated from parking areas, 5-foot wide landscape areas. The exhibit that you're looking at on the screen this evening is the actual color landscape plan from the site plan submittal that is accompanying this development and still under review by city staff. You can see that not only the dual drive-through lane, but the express lane meets all those requirements as well. Drive-through canopy shall be architecturally compatible with the building. You're looking at the west elevation and the north elevation of the subject site. A nice contemporary design with a very vibrant color palette. We think it's very appropriate for the location. And then finally, through the CUP process, Planning Commission has the ability to impose other restrictions on the site, such as operating hours, additional screening if appropriate, relocation of the drive-throughs, noise mitigation, or other appropriate measures. At this time, staff is recommending no additional measures are necessary for this application. With respect to public outreach, the notice of application and hearing postcards were mailed to all residents within 600 feet and HOAs within a mile. A legal ad was published in the newspaper as well, and the site was posted in accordance with city requirements. A neighborhood meeting was not conducted with this, as it was not required per code, as we did not have any written opposition to the notice of application cards that were sent out when the application was submitted. We have received one letter of support for the project, And as of this evening, I've had no additional written correspondence or verbal correspondence as well. Staff finds that the proposal complies with the conditional use permit standards, and more specifically, the limitations on uses that are identified with the City of Peoria zoning ordinance. There are no anticipated impacts on the adjoining businesses or the nearby residential uses, and the applicant has submitted a signed Prop 207 waiver. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of case CU 2005, subject to the conditions of approval outlined in Exhibit 1 of your staff report this evening. Chairman Nelson, that concludes my presentation. The applicant is available as well, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that y'all might have.
Great, thank you for that report, Mr. Williams. A couple of commissioners that have some questions, and I'll have one after we get through those. Oh, we got three. We're going to begin with Commissioner Alsop. He has a question for you.
Couple of questions. Thank you. I'm sure everybody's thinking about our last application, and this is, in my opinion, is totally different. Appreciate that you highlighted the differences between these two. Had a couple questions. The road improvements, is that just striping? We're not making any physical changes to Deer Valley?
Chairman Nelson, we have Brandon Forey with the Traffic Department. I'm going to pass this question over to him, sir.
Yes, Chairman Nelson, Chairman Alsop, and Commission members. The improvements are strictly signing and striping, and one minor correction from, or clarification from earlier in the presentation. The proposed pork chop island would also be in paint. The existing driveway is too narrow to support a constructed pork chop island and still meet fire requirements without completely rebuilding the driveway. So all of the improvements would be relatively low cost and would have virtually no impact on Deer Valley, other than giving a little bit of additional storage for the left turn onto 83rd Avenue.
Okay. And is the only reason this is a CUP because of the drive-through? I'm not sure I'm following why this is a CUP.
Chairman Nelson, Mr. Alsop, it's within 200 foot of a residentially zoned district.
Okay. Gotcha. That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, very good. Commissioner Hutchinson, you're up next.
Thanks, Chair. Very happy to see this seems to be a lot more appropriate use for the area, and yeah, like Commissioner Alsop just mentioned, certainly a better use for the area. We have one of these locations, Salon and Go, right near my office. Wildly popular. My wife was very excited about it, quite frankly, and it's salad, so I'm really not that, I wasn't as excited as she was. One of the challenges I see with one of the locations, and I'm just kind of curious, and maybe the applicant can answer this, or if you guys have some plan for mitigation. It is popular. It's very, very popular, and sometimes there's up to 20 cars in line to get into the drive-through. And my office being over by Bethany Home and 7th Street, they literally line down Bethany Home, east and west, sometimes cross 7th Street and get stuck in the middle of the intersection. It's that popular. Is there a plan to channel the traffic, the excess that would be through the drive-through, through the parking lot instead of through down 83rd Avenue?
Let me go back to, that may not be the best one. I think that one probably shows a better. Chairman Nelson, Commissioner Hutchinson, as far as having a plan to channel that in a different direction, the answer is not at this time. What we do believe, though, through the traffic review and the design of the dual drive-through, that we'll be able to maximize that with the number of cars that we can pass through there, Having been to Salad and Go myself and knowing a little bit about it, it really is pretty quick in and out of this, even when you're going through the menu board. Having the queuing links that we have in the dual drive-throughs will be a major step towards eliminating that single lane of traffic that's backing up. Typically, you see that with these developments that don't have the express drive-through, so that eliminates that traffic coming through it as well, and don't have the dual drive-through. The other thing that's really, I think, a benefit here is that it's located within the Deer Valley Marketplace a considerable ways coming off of 83rd Avenue. So it would have to really back up in order for it to get to 83rd Avenue. Brandon, you might want to address that a little closer.
Absolutely. Chairman Nelson and commission members, this is something that planning and traffic engineering staff worked with the applicant quite a bit. The site itself has been significantly modified to maximize on-site queuing. The dual queue is definitely a great start, but the fact that the main drive and connection to the drive-through is oriented towards 83rd Avenue is part of that effort. If we do get to the point where traffic does back up beyond those dual queues onto a street, 83rd Avenue is a better option than Deer Valley. However, with the design of the site, there is a potential, if the users of the drive-through are conscientious, that they could actually queue up for quite some distance longer on site. And that's something that we really don't know what it's going to look like. We are in unprecedented times with the utilization of drive-throughs right now. So there's a potential this might be a bit of a learning experience, but we have maximized what we could do with this particular site. We're hopeful that there will be sufficient queuing for the site, and that combined with the fast turnaround of Salad and Go, that it should not become a problem.
Addresses your question? You're good? All right. Commissioner Patterson, you are next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Rick, you'd mentioned there's going to be a walk-up feature at the site, and it looks like the parking is on the south side of the express drive-through lane. And I just have visions of distracted pedestrians and distracted drivers trying to cross at the same point. Yeah, I just wondered if there's any special consideration given to pedestrian safety for that crossing.
Chairman Nelson, Commissioner Patterson, excellent question and excellent observation. You can see that there's a designated pedestrian path there across that drive-through. It will be, not only will it be marked on site as far as the pedestrian crossing, it will also, the pavement itself will be very visibly identified for, anyone pulling up through that. There are examples around where, unfortunately it does cross a drive-through, but I think that it can be done through signaling it and striping as well, and different pavement changes going through there, so that clearly signifies that you have a pedestrian crossing coming through there.
Yeah, I was just wondering if maybe you ought to consider a raised pedestrian table for that crossing. That way it would help identify it and slow the traffic down.
That's Commissioner, that's an excellent observation. We'll certainly can take that up. We are currently in the site plan review for the site. It is still under review, and I think that's an excellent observation.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Just a quick question. Neighbors were notified, homeowners associations were notified within 1 mile. Is that neighborhood that would be most impacted directly across the street, is that represented by a homeowners association?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, those homeowners would actually kind of be a double whammy in that not only was the Fletcher Heights Homeowners Association notified on that, but they also fall within the 600-foot radius. So everyone across Deer Valley Road would have been included in that mailing list as well.
Okay, so we're pretty confident that the folks who would be most impacted were made aware of this.
Yes, sir.
Since it was no neighborhood meeting. Okay,
I concur.
perfect, thank you. All right, any further questions of staff before we move on and open the public hearing? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing at this point. Is the applicant present? Would you like to address the commission, sir?
Hi, my name is, hello, Chairman and the Commissioner members. My name is Saki Reinersma. I'm the architect for this project and worked greatly with the traffic and with Rick on this project. And we're very happy and open to any suggestions or any changes you guys want to make. That table suggestion on that walkway, we'd be open to that if that's necessary, if you choose to do that. It is going to be striped. It is on the back end of the car. That would probably be at that express window where he'd be stopped, all right? And may be a car behind them, but there'd be an opening between those two cars right at that actual juncture. And we've located that just so that that would happen if, so nobody be moving halfway through a vehicle. So I do feel that's a very good location for that, and we have striped it for that reason. And I'm just here to open any other questions and very happy to hear anything else. Otherwise, that would be it.
All right, so let me just ask the commissioners, do you have any questions of the applicant? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Either. Thank you very much. Actually, I'm sorry, can I get you, just a quick question. Are you in agreement with the conditions of approval outlined in the staff report?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
I'm also the architect that designed all the Dutch Brothers on that 83rd and Thunderbird area as well. So
Oh, is
I'm
that
very
right?
familiar with the stacking and backing up. We put 20 cars in that double drive-through. So, and then the express lane hopefully will alleviate any issues as well.
All right, perfect, thank you. All right, and my understanding is we've received no requests or questions before the meeting? No, okay. All right. Well, then, at that point, I'm just going to go ahead and close the public hearing then and ask the commissioners, do you have any, one more opportunity to ask any questions or make any comments regarding this case before I request a motion? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I motion that we recommend approval of case CU 20-05, subject conditions of approval outlined in Exhibit 1.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit in case CU 20-05. Commissioners, please vote. And that passes unanimously. Great, thank you. All right, the next agenda item is call to the public on non-agenda items. Would any members of the public like to address any non-agenda items? Seeing no public, do we have, Della, any requests from the public? I mean, nothing received on this item either. Perfect. All right, then we're going to move on to reports from staff. I understand we have two updates tonight. An update regarding the outdoor dining, the Peoria General Plan and Department Work Plan items, and an update on upcoming commission meeting dates. Please
Thank
proceed.
you, Chair Nelson, members of the commission. Yeah, quite a few updates this evening. As you all know, COVID-19's had a profound impact on all of us, notwithstanding the business community. So the city of Peoria, we're always trying to find ways to mitigate the impact and help businesses out. You might recall back in June, under the mayor's declaration of local emergency, we adopted measures that temporarily suspended the temporary part of the sign code so that businesses could advertise pickups, they could advertise if they're open or not, or different things that were specific with COVID. Recently, with the weather becoming nicer, we've started to get requests from restaurants and bars to extend their patios. And so, due in part to the limitations they have on the occupant load inside their restaurants, they're looking to transfer some of that occupant load outside so that so they can have more customers, I guess. So under the mayor's declaration, we're going to be bringing an item to the council Tuesday night. It's a resolution, and what this would do is this will set apart a temporary use permit, extension of premises process that we would enact at no fee to the businesses, and it would be immediately available the day after the council meeting. But essentially what would happen would, a restaurant or bar could apply for a temporary use permit. We would take a look at it. Essentially, this allows, again, to transfer some of their occupant load outside. They're still going to be subject to the same safety measures that we would look at, meaning they still have to maintain ADA corridors, not impact circulation and ingress, egress throughout the site. But we think, and also if they have a liquor license, they're still going to have to get a extension of premise liquor license approval through the Arizona Department of Liquor Control. But we think this is a good thing. We know other cities are looking at this as well, so we're hoping to institute this pretty quickly. We think this will be a nice assistance that we can give the restaurants and bars in the city. So that's an update on that item. Also, this commission is going to see a number of zoning code amendments next year. Probably the biggest one we're looking at is the parking code amendment. The parking code section of our zoning code hasn't been, I would say, comprehensively updated in probably 20-plus years or so. We're taking a brand-new, fresh look at it. We have a draft right now that we're looking at internally within the city. So not only are we looking at adjusting the parking ratios for each of the land use types, but we're also looking to the future and looking at new innovative things that we can look at relative to parking. Things like shared parking arrangements, things like rideshare, shared vehicle programs. Does that have an impact on the parking capacity? Electric or alternative fuel vehicles. Also looking at enhanced bicycle facilities and new requirements on parking lot design. So this is a really large amendment, so this is something that will be, when we have a draft ready, we'll certainly take it out to the community, get input on that. We'll bring it to the commission, do a study session with the commission before we bring it forward for your action on that. The next item is the general plan ratification. So all the things on the ballot the other night, one of those things, of course, was the general plan and Prop 445, and that had over 50,000 people in the city voted for it. So we feel like we're in a very comfortable position, even though they haven't done the final canvass of the vote yet. It's looking very good that it will pass. So we're very happy about that. And at least we'll be situated for the next 10 years until we have to do the next one, right? Another item is department work plan items. I mentioned the parking code. There's other things that are coming your way. I think last year you saw us do a study session on food trucks, so we've made some adjustments to that. We'll be also taking that out to the community as well and bringing that forward. You'll see food trucks again in a revised form. Also, accessory buildings in single-family neighborhoods, so we're adjusting some of the standards there for accessory buildings. Group homes is one that Cody's been working on for a while, but there's been some updates that we'll have to do to meet legislative and court mandates there. And then the other thing we'll have to work on is, well, another thing related to the ballot the other night was the Prop 207, which was the recreational marijuana that passed by a pretty wide margin. So we're probably going to need to take a look at our zoning code. As you all know, we do have provisions right now for medical marijuana facilities. We'll have to take a look at that and see what types of adjustments are appropriate or necessary relative to recreational marijuana. So you'll probably be seeing that next year as well. Other items, I did want to mention that unfortunately this is David Benton's last day, or I should say last week here, or last meeting with the Planning Commission. He's going to be going to the city of Phoenix. Last meeting. But he's going to be the chief counsel at the Civil Division, City of Phoenix. We're very sad to see David go. He's been a great assistance for our department and others, and so we just wanted to congratulate him and welcome him on his new position there. And then finally, with the Planning and Zoning Commission membership, we are down a couple of members and we have a looming vacancy as well. I just wanted everyone to know that we are currently recruiting for additional Planning Commission members. In fact, I believe we have some interviews scheduled with some prospective members, I want to say at the next Boards Commission meeting, and I think that's this month sometime. So we know we're down a few members. We're looking to replenish that membership. So we'll let you know more about that. And with that, that's all I have this evening.
I'm curious, the interest you've seen in the vacancies for planning and zoning, do you have enough interest to fill all all the vacancies, including the alternate member, or?
Chair Nelson, members of the commission, we do have quite a few people that are interested in the planning commission.
Terrific.
Yep.
All right, good news.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, one last item, upcoming meeting dates. So we have November 19th. That meeting is being canceled. The next meeting that we will be seeing everybody would be December 3rd. Just looking ahead, right now, the rest of December is looking light. So the last meeting in December is tentatively looking like it will be canceled. So please join us for December 3rd. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Patterson, did you have a question of staff on one of these
Yeah,
items?
I had a question, Chris, on the outdoor dining issue. Is that going to go to city council for any kind of input or approval? I know up in Prescott, that was a big deal, and something that I think was a good thing, but staff just went ahead and did it without really getting council buy-in on it, and it turned out to be kind of a problem.
Commissioner Nelson, Chair Nelson, Commissioner Patterson, yes, that is a resolution we are taking to council. And I think one thing I should mention, there's a number of details, but the temporary use permit will align with the mayor's declaration of local emergency. So essentially, when that local emergency ends at some point, then the establishment will have to restore the premises back to their approved condition. And we'll give them 60 days at the back end of that declaration to do that. It is something that, our council, we give regular updates to them on business outreach through this COVID pandemic, and they're always very supportive of ways in which staff can help reduce the impact of COVID and help businesses out during this time.
Okay, great, thanks.
So very busy 2021 ahead of us is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right, we're ready for it. All right, thank you for that report. Next, we're going to move to Planning and Zoning Commission updates and report of current events. Do any commissioners have anything to report? All right, seeing none and seeing no further business, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned.